Hi, friend. Welcome back to the Summit Up podcast, the podcast that is focused on bringing happiness to the beauty industry. I'm your host, Blake Reed Evans. And today's episode is going to be such an amazing conversation because we are going to talk about what is life like as a hairstylist who basically lives and works out of three different cities and three different states. And one of the places is an ocean away from one of the other cities. So we had to have this conversation with one of my incredible internet friends, one of my amazing internet friends, Trish Perez. Hi, Trish. How are you?
Hello. I'm doing
Thank you
good.
so much for joining us. I'm so excited to have this conversation with you.
I know I'm so excited. It's long overdue.
Yeah. So for people who aren't familiar with you yet, Trish, just just in a nutshell, is someone who literally lives and works in three different cities and three different states. Like I said at the top of this episode. So Trish, how did you get started working in three different places?
Oh my gosh. Okay. It so I'm a COVID stylist. I graduated during COVID
Yeah.
and I'm born and raised in Hawaii. So at the time of in cosmetology school, my mom was like, "Oh, why don't you just come back for a little bit?" And I went back home for I think like 3 months. And in Hawaii, you can kind of apprenticeship without having a license.
Mm,
So I was kind of doing that for a little bit just because I was on LOA with school. And so I kind of was building a clientele like that. So when I went back to the mainland, when I went back to Vegas, I had posted on my Instagram and I was like, I'm doing $20 balayages. Like, I just need practice because, yeah, because at school we weren't doing any hands on anything. And I remember it was during like December and nobody was hiring for assistants. And I was like, dang, like I have all this like people that want to get their hair done, but I don't have, I can't really assist. So I just like on a whim, I just did like a 3 month lease. And during that time, everybody was like, oh, when are you going to come back to Hawaii? And I was like, oh, okay. Like maybe I should just go because, especially with being a hairstylist, if you don't have a client in your chair, you're not making money.
right.
So I was like, dang, I can't really take a vacation. I just started doing hair. So then I was like, oh, maybe I can just work out there. Like, I have my license now. I can just get my license in Hawaii. And then I did that. I literally just, I think for a week or like a weekend, I just went back home in Hawaii and just like told a bunch of people, like, oh, I'm going to be working in Hawaii. Like, let me know. Or anytime I was at the airport and someone would be like, "Oh, what do you do?" And I'm like, "Oh, I do hair in Vegas and Hawaii." And I kind of was like building more like I guess like traction and
Yeah.
stuff. And before Vegas, I actually lived in the Bay Area. I was a makeup artist for like 6 years. So when my clients saw that I was doing hair now, they were like, "Oh, wait, can you do my hair?"
Mm,
And yeah, and I kept moving back and forth. So then I didn't want to lose my clientele as well in Vegas. So I kind of was like, okay, guys, well, like I'll be back here on the weekends just so I could keep my clientele. And then it became like a regular thing where I was just like bouncing back and forth. And I feel like chaos kind of, it doesn't stress me out. Like I feel like I
yeah.
can, it's like when I'm stable and like too comfortable, I feel like that's when I'm like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. I feel like that stresses me out when it's like too stable.
Yeah.
And I've been a traveling stylist for like most of my career, so it's like all I know. But I am trying to like move into a more like once every other month. I used to basically live in a hotel in 2023.
I was
So
just gonna
because
say, I
I
feel
was
like that's
traveling
when we
so
became internet
much.
friends. Yeah, and
Yes.
I was like, is this girl living out of a hotel?
Yes.
Like true, like sweet life of Zach and Cody
Yeah.
moment. Like that's incredible.
No, yeah. I remember when I would go to like Matrix events and people would just be like, "So where do you live?"
Yeah.
And I was like, "Everywhere."
Where do you live? Like,
Okay, so in December I just bought my first place, my first condo. So now I'm based more in Vegas.
Okay.
And I still go to LA every week, but sometimes I'll just go for like 3 or 4 days.
Okay.
And I go to Hawaii every other month now. I used to go like every single month.
Amazing. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. And that's good too,
Yeah.
because then you can still have the like variety, so you can still have like the chaos that you thrive
Yes.
off of with like
Yes.
controlled chaos, right? Like so it's a little bit more
Yes.
predictable. And it's easier to pre-book people too, I'm assuming.
Yes. So much easier. I think before people would just be like, "So where are you? Like, when are you gonna come back?" And I'm like, "I don't know. We'll
Yeah.
see."
Eventually, if you want your hair done bad enough, you'll wait.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
That's so. I think that that's so incredible because the one of the things that I was really interested in talking to you about is people can start opening up their minds to like really what is possible because I think there's so many amazing things about being a hairstylist. One of the downfalls is typically where you start your business is where you end up living for the rest of your life. It feels
Hmm.
like because you don't want to have to start over and I know that we have lots of friends listening who have had to start over and how miserable that is. So I think it's really cool that you've proven that you can maintain a clientele and literally an ocean apart from
Yeah.
other places and still somehow figure out how to make that happen and make a really beautiful business for yourself.
Yes. I think too, a lot of people just magically thought I had clientele out of nowhere, but it's like when I first started, I remember just even having like 3 clients in Hawaii, and I was like, who cares? I'm gonna make like 20 posts about it and, gain more traction so more people can come. Because a lot of people are like, well, how do you get your clientele? I'm like, social media. Like,
Yeah.
social media is the easiest place. Um, Even when I have clients flying out to me, I'm almost like, dang, this is nice. Like, I'm usually the one doing the flying out and stuff. But yeah, social media is, yeah, it's
Well,
been
I
great.
love that you mentioned that because it like I teach classes, every week, and
Hmm.
social media is a huge topic that I teach, and I love that you say that you even if with one client you'll make it 10 different posts
Yes.
because social media, like I always say, like perception is reality, which is
Hmm.
like, it's like, okay, if you want to specialize in vivids, right? And it's like if you can only have one vivid client a week, but if you turn that into, 5, 6, 7 posts, like it looks like you do a lot more vivids that you
Yes.
do,
Yeah.
and then eventually you'll start doing it for real, and like I think that that's really, really cool. And it's really smart for you too, just for you being so new to the industry. I mean, you're
Mhm.
what, 5 years in officially? Like it's
Yeah,
such
like
a
4 years.
four
Yeah,
years
I'm about
in.
to
Yeah.
hit 5 years this
So
year.
like that's crazy. Like I honestly even I think I even reached out to you before about maybe doing a collab class and you were like, "Oh, I've only
Oh,
been doing this for
yes.
like a second,"
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh my God, I would have never known." So like your social strategy works and like I think that it's really cool.
Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah, even in the beginning, like, I remember I was like, so, like, dirt, like, did not have a single, I think I was doing, when I first started traveling, being a traveling stylist, I remember I was like barely breaking even, but I was like, I need to get this to work. I
But if you
know
broke
in the,
even, that's the hardest part, I think. It's like and then the rest
yeah,
is nothing but net after that.
yeah,
Like then
literally.
you're good. Yeah.
I think I was doing, actually, I think I was spending more to travel, a little bit more to travel, just to keep my clientele, I think, in the beginning. And I want to say like finally, like last year is finally where I'm actually like in like financially in a better place, you know?
Yeah.
But I was telling people it's hard being a traveling stylist in the beginning because most of your money almost goes to like your travel and transportation and stuff, and then renting in different salons. But once I caught the hang of things, I was like, oh yeah, it's like so much easier now. But
That's amazing. So, like, when you're renting in different and so are you renting in all three cities when you go?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So then, do you have like a just a day-to-day agreement, or do you have a better like lease now that you have a more predictable schedule?
So Vegas is probably the only place that I actually have a lease with now.
Okay.
And so in LA and Hawaii, I do, well, in Hawaii, I'm still at one of the salons that I'm in, but she kind of lets me guest spot. Um, So that works out, and I have my same station
Hmm.
because now I'm like every other month versus like when I used to be in Hawaii every single month. That was really expensive. I think because I was just paying rent when I wasn't even there.
Right.
In LA, I use Artists on the Go or ShearShare.
Okay.
Or sometimes you can just like DM the, it depends because sometimes I like to bounce around to different salons. I like to see the vibe, which is really nice because then you're not really like tied to a salon in a
Yeah.
way.
Well, and in LA too, it's like such a specific market that like maybe you want to be an
Yes.
OC for certain clients, and then maybe you want
Hmm.
to be like in, I don't know, like Burbank for other clients. So
Yes,
it's great.
exactly. Or like Long Beach. Yeah.
Yeah.
So plus, yeah, LA is so huge. So it's like you can kind of do that. On my client form, I literally put like, which, like, do you want to be in OC, Long Beach, Hollywood, like whatever. So it's been working out because I kind of like seeing different places too.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then when you like are in, so you own your condo in Vegas now.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Thank
So
you.
like you must have been doing well enough to like be able to buy a place. That's amazing. Like that's major.
Yeah, and it was the scariest thing too because I am so used to bouncing around that like being in one place like freaked me out. I remember telling my clients like this is not real. Like I'm not actually gonna commit to staying at this place. Like there's no way. And like now I almost feel like a sense of relief that I'm finally in one place because for the longest time I was like literally living in hotels. I was a nomad. And I remember there was like a weekend where there was no hotels available. And I was like, what am I going to do?
Oh my
And
gosh.
it was like, honestly, having a place is way cheaper than having hotels. I think I spent so much money in hotels. I wish I like invested it in a place like sooner.
Mm.
But yeah, it was so scary. I remember being like, should I just sleep at the salon? But I was so scared because I was like, the salon's kind of creepy.
Yeah, no, I know
Yeah.
any salon like when there's nobody in there is
Yes.
terrifying. Like I hate opening the salon. It scares me. Or like if I'm doing a color correction that runs until like 11, I hate being there alone.
Yeah. I hate
It's
it. I
it's
hate it
crazy.
too.
But that's I mean that's incredible too, and like you're making good, obviously good decisions now. Like, and so what made you bet on yourself that you would be able to make this work out? Like, did you have like a hard line of like, if I go, I don't know, like a year and I'm not making X amount of money, then I'm gonna stay put? Like what made you bet on yourself, and like what was that plan like?
I think what also helped me was like my whole family is back home in Hawaii and they're like, well, like come, you can just work here. And my sister would be like, I'll get you clients. Like my sister would
Okay.
like
Yeah.
post every single day and she would she would be my assistant. So she would like
Wow.
book people for me just so I can come back home.
Yeah.
And I think too, my parents always told me like do things while you're young, like do it, like mess up if you have to, like it's okay as long as you do it because then it's like you know what works, you know what doesn't. And that's been like my whole life. I moved to the mainland when I was like 17
Okay.
and my parents always was like, you know what, it's okay, you got us. So mess up if you have to. Like it's okay. Like try it out, see if you like it. I remember there were like so many times where I was telling my mom like, I'm barely like making any money from being a traveling stylist, and my mom was like, it's okay, like you'll get there, just keep going. Because there were times where I was like, is this like, is this even for me? Like I don't even know. It was like crazy. But I think having a good support system like helped me out because there were so many times where I felt like I was doubting myself and
Hmm.
even thinking, even a lot of people on social media, I feel like when I was posting at the time, like being a traveling stylist, a lot of people were just like, this is not real. Like, you're not really doing this. Like, how are you even making
I
money
remember when
from
you
it?
blew up. Yeah. Your comments were wild.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, I think, yeah, when it started to get to my head, I was like, is this even realistic? And I remember like doing my numbers for the first time and I was like, dang, like I'm just making my money back for going and stuff.
Yeah.
But I'm glad I kept going because genuinely, I love this. I love my clients. I love having clients in different places. I love being able to just kind of bounce around and because sometimes when you're too stuck and in comfort, it gets so stagnant.
Yeah.
And yeah, I love it.
It's so, yeah. I mean, it is impressive to watch your growth just as a bystander on social media and stuff. So it's really incredible.
Thank you.
I bet you other people have the same question. What do you do? Like, what happens when you? Because we all get them once in a while, a redo, but like you've already bounced out of the state. Like, how does that
You
work?
know, I'm gonna be so honest, and I'm gonna knock on wood.
Yeah. I hope it didn't curse you.
I know, I've only had like one redo ever, like
Okay.
ever. For me, usually I'll always make sure they love their hair before they leave. And most of the time I'm there for like if it's in Hawaii, I'm there for like more than a week.
Okay.
So I always tell them like, let me know if you feel like the
You
lighting
gotta let
when
me
you
know
go
in like
home.
4 days.
Yeah, you better let me know soon.
Yeah.
Or else, yeah. But I haven't really had like a redo. I probably
Right.
just recently, I think one of my clients was like, "Can you just pop more foils in?" And I was like, "Oh my God, it's great because I'm still here."
Yeah.
Because yeah, before they would be like, "So you're not here? I'll see you next time." And I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
haven't. I usually try to make them like love it before they leave, or I always tell them like, "You can tell me anything. Like it does not hurt my feelings whatsoever. Like I don't get offended. This is your hair. You're paying for it." And
And do you
usually
do
I
that
can
for
kind of
people like,
tell.
do you do that like in the consultation? You tell them like, just let me know 100, or do you do it like towards the end of the appointment, or like how do you handle that? Because I mean, I have the same approach as well, and it
Yeah,
really helps me avoid redos. But like, how do you really make sure that someone really knows that you mean it?
yeah. I think I do it in the beginning. Like I do it the whole appointment, to be honest. I always tell them like, be honest with me. Like, how am I supposed to grow if you're not being honest? Like, just tell me.
Yeah.
I think too, yeah, a lot of clients they'll tell me they're like, I feel so comfortable with you. And that's such
Oh,
a
that's great.
compliment to me because I feel like when I used to be a client, I almost was too scared to speak up as well.
Right.
And so I always tell people like, trust me, like this is not gonna affect me. This is just making me grow as a better stylist. Like, and I can usually tell like once I blow dry, I'll do, and this is for every single client, even like with returning clients, I will still blow dry one side and be like, how do you feel about this? What do you think? And like, if I can tell by their body language where it's like, it's okay. Or I'll just be like, okay, let me just finish it up and then we'll look at it together. And if you still feel like that, I'll retone you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So usually that's how I go about it. And I feel like it's helped a lot because, yeah, I'm gonna knock on wood because I only got
I know.
one redo like ever.
I mean, that's really impressive because for people that aren't familiar with you, you specialize in color corrections, and not just any color corrections. I feel like your clients either have a ton of hair themselves or also want extensions, and particularly you work on a lot of dark hair. So like you have this beautiful niche carved out for you. So you're doing these really big transformations for people. And I feel like every other week on your story, I see on your close friends story that that
Yeah.
you're like, not again, and it's like, perfectly blonde at the roots and then like red on the ends.
Yes.
So you've attracted this kind of clientele, and you still avoid redos, which I think is really impressive for being, for you being a corrective color specialist. Really, at the end of the day, is what you are. So it's like it's really impressive.
Oh, thank you. I think also what helps a lot is I tell them like you'll get what you get. Like I don't know, I even tell them like everything is a process. And I'll even show them their strength test like, girl, like you can't lift. Like I'm super straightforward. Sometimes they'll be like, so do you think I can blonde? I'm like, no.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
no. You have I always tell them too, if you bleach if you put bleach on black clothes, it's stained orange. Like
Right.
if you think I can't lift this out, what makes you think I can lift out your hair?
Hmm.
But I think now too, like I do so many where it's like I kind of I'm so used to having box color where like when I get virgin hair, I'm always like so surprised. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm too used to it.
Well,
I love doing box color corrections though.
yeah. Well, I love that you're talking about it too, because you're talking about all the elements of like things that are real, right? Like clients are scared or guests are scared of letting us know that they don't like it, right? And like,
Mhm.
so I'm so like, I'm probably sometimes I probably wonder if I like scare my clients sometimes where I'm like, you just gotta let me know. Like when I have somebody new, I'm like, just let me know you're never gonna hurt my feelings. It's your hair. You're spending a lot of money to have it done, and you're the one
Yes.
that's gonna have to wear it for the next, 4 months until I see you again. So like I want to make sure that you absolutely love it. Like just tell me. And I'm like, I'm sure I'm sometimes scaring them whenever I do that.
Yeah,
'Cause,
they're like, "What do
they're
you
like, wait,
mean? You don't
what is
like
wrong with
it?"
it? You know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, I just want to make sure you're not lying to me because I've been doing this long enough to know that
Yes.
people will be like, I
No.
love it, and then go in their car and cry.
And
So
then
like,
cry.
I don't want that to happen. Like, it's my God,
Yes.
that's my worst fear. Honestly, is that
Yes.
happening?
I'm so scared of being like I told my clients if I see me on TikTok, like I'm coming for you.
Oh yeah,
Like
no,
my
I
my biggest fear is like my stylist and I'm like, no, no.
yeah. I make this joke a lot in classes where I'm like, hairstylists used to be scared of like, like a 50-something-year-old woman leaving a Yelp review, and now we're scared of like a 23-year-old with a TikTok account, like
Oh my gosh, yes. For the longest I was not taking new clients. Like for the I was because I think at that time during like TikTok, it's like every person like hated hairstylists and I was like, "Oh, I
yeah,
can't take
toner
a new
gate.
client. There's no way."
Yeah. It's so funny. I was like trying to explain toner gate to somebody literally last night in the salon, and it was one of my clients, and she's on TikTok a lot, but she was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was like, it's too much.
Yes.
I'll send you a drama page, explain her
Yes.
later.
Yes.
But
Yes.
yeah, so I love that your approach to that, and I love that you are that thorough to make sure that people love it. So when you're working in the salon, like, do you work with an assistant in any of the locations that you work at, or is it just you?
It's just I did have an assistant for a little bit and she helped me book, but it's just me now. I
Okay.
do want an assistant. I think like I've had girls shadow me here and there, and I'll have them kind of almost like assist me
Yeah.
in a way, just so they can actually like get hands on. But no assistant. I really want one though.
Well, yeah. You're at the point now where you've earned the
Yeah.
right. At least in Vegas, like start there,
No, no, definitely with Vegas.
Yeah.
I feel like now that I'm kind of here, I'm able to take so much more clients where now I'm almost like finding myself that okay, maybe I need to learn how to step back and actually take breaks because now that I'm in Vegas, all of my clients are like, "Well, I want to come in, I want to come in." And
Yeah.
now I'm trying to learn how to not have burnout.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's a hard thing, but like, yeah. I mean, just, friendly advice as someone who keeps busy is like you can't keep going unless you rest. Like you
Yes.
will burn out. It's like it's a guaranteed factor, right? So, if you take a step back, you'll be able to serve people better. So like take the day or two off and commit to it.
No, yeah. I know someone asked me like, "So when are your days off?" And I'm like, honestly, like I don't really have a designated day off. Probably like when I'm like flying, that's my
That's
day
not a
off.
day off,
I
friend.
know
Yeah,
exactly.
because
I
traveling
know.
can be like sometimes it's so chill and it's like it is so relaxing. And
Yes.
then sometimes travel is like the worst day of your life. And
No,
no in
literally.
between. You never have just like a average, like it's either super relaxing or super stressful.
Yes, no, exactly.
Yeah.
That, and I'm trying to learn how to like actually, because I feel like I'm almost a little guilty sometimes taking the day off. And I'm like, why? Why do I feel like that? And I think I was so used to like when I was doing LA and Vegas, I was doing like Monday through Thursday LA and then Thursday through Sunday in Vegas. So it was kind of like I'm so used to like so much travel where now I feel like, oh my gosh, like do I even have clients? But it's like, girl, chill. Like you need to take a break. Like I don't
Yeah.
know.
Well, I mean, you have classic case of a hustler, an entrepreneur, like you're building this really beautiful life for yourself. Now you got a mortgage, like,
Yeah,
so it's
yeah.
like,
Yeah, so I'm
you,
like, I
you
gotta
ha-
work.
got to work. Yeah. But that makes sense. I think it's so admirable that you have such a strong work ethic, but yeah, you've got to take care of yourself. Just this from one person to the other. Because I actually almost burnt out again like 2 weeks ago because
Okay.
I was in Costa Rica for 8 days and I had a retreat and it was very exciting, of course relaxing but still hard work. And my dumbass landed at 10 p.m. and had clients at 7:30 the next morning
Oh my
in a 13-hour
gosh.
day. And I was like,
And you're like, I
what was
got
I
it.
thinking? What was I thinking? But like, because I was like, well, I'm already out and then I'm going to be out in 2 weeks after that. And it's fine. But yeah, so it's just, you got to take care of yourself as much as possible. So that following Saturday, I slept, I think, 18 hours out of the 24.
Oh my
Like I
God.
slept. Yeah.
That's so good.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the best. It was the
Yeah.
best ever. But so I love that you have all of those things. So let's talk about your you specializing in the hair that you specialize in, because I think that's part of what has made you, from my outside looking in, is what's made you so marketable, is that you specialize in what I've noticed is dark hair, color corrections. You're not afraid of box color, like you said earlier, and you do really great extensions and all of that. So like, how did you leap into that world?
Um, so actually, I think, how did I get into it? I think because I am also a former box dye user, that I get it. I get it. We all have that pinch where we just have to box dye our hair. And I think when I would take clients, I think it started even in school. And I remember having this client, Brianna, and she literally was like, "I'm so sorry, I have box dye in my hair," and I was like, "You're fine. Like, who cares?
Yeah,
Box dye is box dye. If you have to, it's fine as long as you know like this is a process. You're not going to be platinum blonde in one session." And I remember posting it and being like, "Box dye is not even that bad." I think also just having dark hair takes so long
it
as
takes so long to
well.
lift. Yeah,
Yes, yes. So I was like, in my head, this is when I first started. I was like, it's kind of the same thing. It's not really, you know? And I used to think like it's not it's kind of fun because you kind of get to open up your mind, and that's what made me even stronger as like doing formulas. And that's why I use like 20 different formulas basically sometimes, because it's like I love kind of just like seeing a bunch of colors and trying to make it cohesive. Like, how am I going to do
yeah,
that? And I remember at the time, a lot of my friends were not taking box set. And I used to tell them, send them to me, send them to me. Like,
yeah.
I'll take them. And I built a really strong bond with one of my clients, and she's been my client for like almost 6 years now since school, because she started off as my box color client, and she's
Wow.
still my client till today. And it's really nice because I see her every like 6 to 8 weeks, and we got to grow up together. And she's one of the viral videos I have of my box color correction.
Mm.
Um, but sorry, now I'm like rambling. But I think what helped me specialize in box color was just like saying yes. And also, I was like, I just need to take all the clients I need to get. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
I need to get I
You're like, I've
need
got
to
an
get
airplane ticket to pay for. Yeah.
literally, I was like, I can't say no. Like, it's like, are you crazy? I was like, I'll take it. Or, especially in LA, I feel like I have a lot of friends that do not take box color, and I'm like, send them to me.
Yeah.
Send them to me. And yeah. And I think, yeah, with social media, I think I had like two viral videos of the box color correction, and after that, I feel like that's all I got. And now I get box color corrections like probably every other day. Like,
Yeah.
now I'm like not surprised. Like, when clients come in and they're like, "Oh, I have box," I'm like, "Cool."
Cool. Yeah.
Like, I'm good. Like, it doesn't freak me out. I think like in the beginning, I had one box color where I didn't like strand test at all. Her hair did not do anything. It was like straight up black. I remember like bleaching her out and letting her sit for like 4 hours, nothing. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what did I
What did
do?"
she use? Oh my God. Like,
That's what I
like,
said.
I mean,
I was like,
I've
"Did you
had
like
one do that
stain
same
it?"
exact thing, and I'm literally like, did you put like tar on your head? Like, what
Literally.
is going on? I was like, it's not even kind of red. It's nothing happened.
Yeah, it's nothing. Yeah, so my thing too, this is the way that, because sometimes I do have to tell people like I can't do your hair, but I tell them if the strand test goes orange, or if it even moves, I can take you as a client. If it does not move at all, you have to let it grow out.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing I can do.
You can
I
install the
think,
extensions and call it a day.
yes,
Yeah.
and that's my second thing, where I was like, you can do a fake balayage, and then I showed them a bunch of my clients, and they're like, wait, what? And even for a while, I think a lot of people didn't know, but my hair is a basic. My hair used to be a really big color correction because I had so much color in my hair. So I only could rock color extensions, but a lot of people didn't even know. They just thought my hair was actually colored. But I was like,
Yeah.
no, it's just extensions.
Yeah. Well, and that's like the movement I'm trying to be a part of in classes that I teach for color correction classes. I teach that's my other thing. And I'm like, like extensions are an option. Like if you don't like it started with one of my clients who had black hair and wanted black and silver. And I was
Hmm.
like, listen, if here's the two things we can do. We can do it and maybe not get you there in one day, and you might have like that ugly yellow blonde still with black, or I can guarantee the results and not fry your hair. And I think the extensions are going to end up being cheaper.
Yes, that's my thing too. I always tell them extensions are so much cheaper. I'm like,
Yeah. Than paying for like
it,
two corrective color sessions with me.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
no, exactly. And I was like, you actually get to be silver.
Yeah.
I'll show them, or I even have some test hair that I'll literally stick it in their hair and be like, you can't even feel it. Like,
Mm.
I love extensions. I feel like, I think it's gotten like some bad of a rep, but that's like with everything. But yeah, sometimes I'll even like put the extension in my client's hair for like a couple days, and I'm like, you know what? See how you feel with it. If you feel like you can live with it, if you feel like it's annoying you, then we don't have to do the extensions. And for the most part, it's helped a lot because then
Oh,
they're like,
that's
oh,
so
I don't even
smart.
feel it.
So
Yeah,
are you putting just like a couple K-tips in, a couple tapes in, like a little, like a small weft in their hair? Like what are,
literally, it's like the tiniest. Yeah, just so
okay.
they can kind of get the feel. Instead of committing to actually buying so much hair because
Right.
yeah, it
Yeah.
can be really expensive.
That's so smart. Okay, well, I just learned something, and I'm gonna
Yeah.
take that because I
Yes.
just decided I'm willing to do more extensions. I do them like I always say, I secretly do extensions. I don't advertise it. I only do it for certain people, but I want to do a little bit more for, and mainly for the color side of things, of like big
Hmm.
transformations and stuff. And I love that idea of like, I'm just gonna sew like a 3 inch weft in your hair so you can just feel it and then see how you
Yeah.
like it, and then we can commit. So I
Yeah.
love that idea. You're smart,
Yeah.
Trish. You're very, very
Thanks.
smart in many ways. So what, like, I think the biggest thing I'm impressed by you is like your work ethic. Where does that come from?
Honestly, my dad,
Okay.
dude, that guy, like, if I have a day off and he knows, why aren't you at work?
Yeah.
You should be working. I'm like, what do you mean? People have days off, and he's like, what's a day off?
Yeah.
Like, he is the epitome of hustle culture. Like,
Yeah.
he does not know how to sleep. But I'm so honestly, I'm so grateful for my dad because he has made me like open my eyes and made me grow up because for him having a there's no such thing as having a budget. Why are
Mm.
you having a budget? Make more money. Like what are you doing,
Wait,
and
I need that
I
on a
think
shirt.
yes, no, and I feel like that is instilled in my head, even though like yes it can seem more like hustle toxic culture, but it makes sense. Like I want this life, and if I want this life I will truly push it and do it myself. And I love the nice things. I love to travel. I love to be able to do things. And I love to live beyond means, basically.
Hmm.
And my dad was like, if you want it, you got to go get it. Like the only person that is stopping you is you. And yeah, having him, I think like growing up, I used to be like, oh, my dad is so annoying. Like, shut up. But now that I'm like older, I see all like with him, you think I travel more? My dad travels like every second that he can. If he
Yeah.
wants to do something, he'll do it.
Yeah.
He'll like, and it's crazy. So I think, yeah, I get my worth ethic from my dad.
I think that that's so cool because I think that like the reason why I bring it up is because I meet a lot of salon owners. A lot of salon owners listen to this podcast. So listen, young people have good work ethics and they exist. It's just you've got to. What I'm hearing though is that your lifestyle is really important to you, and that's what you focus on more than the actual dollars. It's like
Hmm.
that, and that's the big mission that we've been trying to talk about at Summit is like just young people aren't mostly motivated by dollar amounts, but they are motivated by life experiences. And my rude awakening is that life experiences cost a lot of money,
Yeah.
but that's what I'm after is like young people do have a good work ethic, but they don't want to work for assholes. It's like my whole thing. So it's like you
Hmm.
can't control people. Like, so I think it's cool that you found salons that will let you hop in and out, like that you can guest spot at, or that you can, rent a chair for a day. And that's the flexibility that I think today's generation needs. And like that's, I think that that's really impressive and it's cool. And now that you have that hustle mindset paired with the reality of like, you actually do need a day off to keep going,
Yeah,
like you're, then you can bridge the gap forward of like for your life. And I think that that's just really cool.
yeah. Thank you.
I love that. Okay, I've loved this conversation. So, before we get into our last signature question, where can people find and connect with you?
You can find me at Hair by Trish V on TikTok and Instagram. Oh,
Okay,
okay.
thank you.
Sorry, I think I'm like moving too. I have like ants in my pants. Um, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Okay,
See,
so
I feel like I'm working around too many chemicals, so where I get like brain fog.
where can
Oh yeah.
people connect with you?
Okay, they can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Hair by Trish V.
Perfect. So, before I ask the final question, I just want to recognize you. Like, thank you for joining the show. Thank you for being able to open people's mindset up to what's possible in the industry. And I just think what you're doing is just amazing and it's incredible. So I'm excited to see what you do next.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, I genuinely, even when people message me asking me about being a traveling stylist, I'm like, do it. Just do it. Like the first step is just doing it. Even if it's just taking clients on the weekends for a day, like even if it's one client, like you're still doing it. You're traveling, you're doing hair, like just do it. And there's not like, even though a lot of people are like, oh, well, there's so many hairstylists in this city, blah, 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 like that. There's not a stylist like you. There's
Yeah.
no one like you. People will go to you for you. And yeah, that's what helped me. Lisa G,
Yeah.
she's great too, and she's a traveling stylist, and I learned so much from her too, and it helps motivate me as being a traveling stylist as well. Just like doing it, like who cares? Just do it.
Yeah. I love that. What does happiness mean to you?
Ooh. I think like happiness for me is like, oh, that's a good question. I don't even like, I think happiness for me is like peace, like being at peace. And I feel like I'm finally at peace,
Mm,
just like with career and life and actually being in a place. Also, like happiness is in Hawaii. Like just
mm,
being able to like work there, being able to like travel and work there is probably like my happiness. Even though it's like a work trip, I'm like, who cares? You know? I get
hmm.
to like still
It's
vacay.
paradise. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
I know I
amazing.
wanted to go on your Costa Rica trip too, but it lined up with just like the moving, and I was like, dang, I really wanted to go. So I hope you
Yeah.
have another one soon.
We will. Yeah. Yeah. I'll text you whenever it happens. But thank you so much for being on the show. And I can't wait to see what you do next.
Thank you. I know
Perfect.
I can't wait.
And thank you, friend, for listening to this episode. If you enjoyed it, just take a moment to share it with a friend. If this inspired you, share it with someone who has been talking about, switching cities and going back and forth. And if you really enjoyed this episode, take a moment to rate and review us on wherever you are streaming us. But we will talk to you next time.
Bye.